It's time for Lefties Losing It. In recent weeks, we have heard so much about fractures on the right, about the MAGA base being divided, about Trump losing support among Republicans. It's times like this I like to check in with CNN's polling expert, Harry Enton. How bad is it, Harry? Is the president losing Republicans?
No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here. It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number. It's 87%. He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to 6 months ago. As I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
That's fascinating, Harry. I wonder how it compares to other recent presidents. Now, this next bit is likely to upset our sensitive lefty viewers, so perhaps, I don't know, go off and make a cup of tea, yes?
Donald Trump, if you look at 21st century presidents' own party approval at this point in term two, who leads the pack? It's Donald John Trump. 87% of Republicans approve of Donald John Trump. You go back to 2013, 78% of Democrats supported Barack Obama, and it was 78% of Republicans who supported George W. Bush back in 2005 at this point. So Donald Trump has the biggest highest own party approval of any president who served their entire second term in the 21st century.
That was fun. Now let's check out some tolerant lefties being delightfully inclusive and kind when met with someone who may have a differing view to them. Of course, they immediately resort to threats and violence.
How's that? Whoa. You just hit me with the sign, right?
A lot of this security has weapons. You should get the out of here.
What are you going to do?
You're a nobody. You're a nobody. You're a little cuck nobody, and so are you.
Are you going to use weapons?
No. We might. We might. You want to find out?
You got cops right over there. Nobody.
Do you support that message?
Nobody, Ben.
I support you leaving.
We're not going to leave.
Oh, can't you just feel the love? Such well-balanced and compassionate people.
Okay, so he is dragging Trump and ICE officials, law enforcement. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you support this? What? They are dragging the president. What happened?
I said you're a Nazi, kid.
How am I a Nazi?
He's a troll.
Real inclusive. Really inclusive.
You know, the left doesn't just have a violence problem, that much is clear. They also have a racism problem. The open hostility towards white people, particularly white men, the unrepentant racism has been normalised for far too long. This next woman speaks without fear of being labelled a hideous racist because she's heard this sort of toxic rhetoric everywhere.
Charlie Kirk. Like, I'm glad the guy's dead, actually. So,
you're glad he's dead?
Yeah, I'm glad. White men are literally the single greatest threat to humans being fed, housed, clothed, having their basic needs. White men are the greatest threat to that.
Well, I don't see any problems.
Because you're a white man!
Well, you're also unable to name me an example, right?
The example is you having the privilege to even be out here.
Now, you'll remember Donald Trump and New York City Mayor-Elect Zohran Mamdani having a very civilised, polite get-together in the White House. Well, the lefties lost it after that because Zohran didn't attack the president in the way they would have liked. So, like a good little coward, he's now gone back to calling President Trump a fascist. He's gone from this.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Yep, he's gone from that to now claiming that he in fact answered yes to that question, and he does see Donald Trump as a fascist.
Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And
you've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe.
Pathetic, Zohran. Absolutely pathetic. Now, let's have a look at some of the entitled antics of protesters who are helping to destroy the profitability of businesses that cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement, ICE. Businesses that simply comply with the law. Watch these idiot lefties lining up to buy 17-cent ice scrapers at Home Depot, then returning them and then buying them, which essentially stops anyone else, like real customers, being able to shop at Home Depot.
What are you buying? An ice scraper. Nice. What are you guys buying?
We are buying
Ice scrapers.
Let's bring in documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, no shock that those scenes are from California. This would be costing affected businesses a fortune.
Yeah, California, my home state. Oh, I'm so proud. By the way, did I hear that right? The ice scrapers are 17 cents. Well, obviously, it's in California. There is no ice. I looked at my local store. I heard about this. They're $2.99. So, yeah, I would have gotten a line for them also. Just wouldn't have returned them. They're too good a deal. Look, for them, this is a twofer, right? Which means, like, on the one hand, they get to do two things at one time, right? They get to protest the fascism of Trump, right? And the ICE raids, and at the same time also help to take down capitalism. So for them, it was a 2-for-1 deal. You know, the right never does this, right? When we have, obviously, the right has issues with the left, issues with different governments, in the city governments, state governments. President was on the left just last year. But we didn't do this thing. We didn't disrupt commerce. We didn't disrupt people's lives. We didn't go to people's homes. That's not the way the right does business. And by the way, I don't know if you saw that in the clip, but they had 24 white crosses to basically saying that there are 24 people who died in ICE custody since Donald Trump. Well, as you know, Rita, I'm a data guy. I don't just let that go. I go into the numbers. I go into the weeds. I did it with this also because that didn't seem right to me. And yeah, indeed, there were between 20 and 24 deaths. But yeah, not exactly in ICE custody. I'm talking, the people that died were actually mostly in hospitals where the U.S. government was actually trying to treat them for underlying conditions. They died in the hospital. Some of them were suicides. But of course, let's not let the truth get in the way of the narrative of the left, right? And, you know, I want to point out another thing, that Home Depot, they're not involved in these ICE raids. They don't coordinate with the U.S. government. They went to great pains to say, we have nothing to do with this. But of course, the left doesn't care about the truth, doesn't care about that. And I'll just add one last thing about this, Rita. Look, as you know, we've talked about illegal immigration for years on the show. And I'm going to take a backseat to no one on how I wanted to stop illegal immigration and get rid of illegals in this country. But it's also a very bad look. Okay, when you run into Home Depot and grabbing people off the parking lot or trying to get jobs, it's one of the reasons, just from an optics perspective, it's one of the reasons why there's been a degradation in support of Donald Trump with the Latino community, which in no small way put him over the top. So I think also one has to look at the politics of this, and it doesn't look good.
It doesn't, but if you want to have mass deportations, you're going to have to do that. It's not. There's no nice way of going about this. There's no way where you're going to be able to deport people who are in the country illegally without scenes that are like that and they're sometimes emotional and hard to witness. But it's what he was elected on. He has a mandate to do it.